Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing how you can save the environment and yourself with food and dietary choices. Sadly, human health and the health of the planet are both heading in the wrong direction quickly. We need to act fast to turn the situation around. Data is so compelling that the 2015 to 2020 US Dietary Advisory Committee devoted a whole chapter to food safety and sustainability. This is the first time they've done this. They concluded that the data overwhelmingly supports the conclusion that a diet high in plant based foods, including fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and low in animal products like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, is not only more health promoting, but also has a significantly lower environmental impact than the current typical US diet. There was significant public support for this information, but not unexpectedly, because the report is co sponsored by the US Department of Agriculture. This section was removed. The Department of Agriculture aims to keep America's suppliers of meat, poultry, and eggs in business and didn't want to upset them by providing this information to the American public. They even watered down the evidence based eating guidelines, including not talking about limiting the intake of animal products, especially meat and dairy. Even if they had ignored the sustainability data and just followed the best science on healthy eating, that alone would have lowered disease, increased life expectancy, and at the same time had large environmental impact, especially lowering greenhouse gas emissions by up to over 80%. Plant based foods are better for the environment using any measurement and across many environmental variables. If the impact of food on the environment is measured in comparison to the environmental impact of driving 1 mile, all the foods that are worse are animal products. The greenhouse gas emissions associated with animal products can be as much as a couple hundred times higher than plant based foods. The foods associated with the lowest greenhouse gas emissions are legumes, beans, split peas, chickpeas, and lentils. If beans were used to replace beef, that alone would provide 75% of the 2020 greenhouse gas emissions reduction target and save enough land to equal 1.5 times the size of the state of California. Beans would also provide excellent protein compared to beef and have more iron and calcium, provide fiber, and contain no cholesterol. This will be a huge win-win for people and the environment. Going beyond greenhouse gases, for example, kidney beans require 18 times less land, 10 times less water, 9 times less fuel, 12 times less fertilizer, and 10 times less pesticide compared to beef. Even a partial plant based diet can have significant benefits for health and the environment. If the European Union cut their consumption of animal products in half, there would be a 40% reduction in nitrogen emissions and greenhouse gas emissions, and almost a quarter less land used for food production. And of course, people would be healthier too, including lower death rates from heart disease, the number one killer of people in both Europe and the US. The key to getting the health benefits of plant based diet is to avoid eating processed plant based junk like sugar and oils. A study showed that in California, a diet containing more animal products used as much extra water as taking an additional 150 showers a week. Going plant based on weekdays alone will cut water use in half, and carbon footprint and ecological footprint almost in half compared to eating the standard American diet every day. While a few countries are talking about reducing their animal product intake, the majority are doing the exact opposite. Billions of dollars of our taxpayer money are being spent to subsidize and support the meat, dairy, and egg industries, helping them produce and sell more of the very products that are making us and the planet sick. Could it be that consumers are not aware of the degree to which their dietary choices are affecting the environment? Some have suggested labels that quantify the environmental impact of foods in terms of light bulb hours. A can of chicken soup might be the equivalent of leaving a light bulb on for 39 hours compared to a can of vegetable soup being equal to 4 hours. Perhaps this would drive some people to reach for the vegetable soup. Many have suggested a different approach aimed at improving food production practices by changing irrigation practices, fertilization, manure management, altering feeds, and even adding feed additives to reduce animal gas production and belches. While these efforts sound reasonable, they will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by only 10% by 2050. In comparison, increasing plant-based food consumption can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 80% and lead to healthier lives. According to the experts at the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, these climate carnivores who reduce their intake of ruminant meat and dairy products would make little difference to the environment. Ruminant meats are from animals with the most gas production. People who limit meat and dairy would have a larger impact, while vegetarians and most of all vegans would have the highest positive impact on the environment. The diet with the best environmental footprint is a plant-based diet, but it's not all or nothing. Even cutting down meat 1 to 2 ounces a day can get you halfway to the lowest greenhouse gas emissions of a plant-based diet. Same with land use. A healthy Mediterranean diet can reduce land use by about 25%, but a plant-based diet can reduce land use by 50% or more. Generally, diets that include meat require 3 times more water, 13 times more fertilizer, 2.5 times more energy, and 1.5 times more pesticides than diets that don't include meat. Looking at the broadest environmental impact of different diets on everything from climate change to ocean acidification, agricultural runoff, air pollution toxicity, environmental water and soil toxicity, and toxicity to the water we drink and the soil we grow our food on, there are big differences. Eating eggs and dairy is over 9 times worse than eating plants and eating eggs. Dairy and meat is over 17 times worse than eating plants. As a bonus, eating plant-based would add enough food to the US food supply to feed another entire nation of Americans. That's about 350 million more people. This would add more food to the food supply than if we eliminated all food waste. Even though the effects of changing to a plant-based diet are quite significant, most people are not aware of them. Even those who take climate change seriously don't seem to understand the very large impact of eating less meat can have. They tend to underestimate the impact of meat consumption on the environment and also on climate change. While the impressive efficacy of reducing meat consumption has been firmly established by climate scientists, only 6% of Americans are aware of it. In part, this is due to those who are profiting from the status quo and actively working to create doubt about the existence of climate change. Even non-governmental organizations set up to fight climate change and environmental degradation send a weak message regarding diet. They don't want to tell people what to do. Instead, they ask for small changes like turning off computers and taking shorter showers. Unfortunately, these small changes create small and insignificant results. The current situation requires urgent and ambitious changes.
Anyways, thanks for watching and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you learned down below. Thank you.